Welcome to Jar Your Mind. My name is Joey. Today we are going to do a guided meditation on the Neville Goddard technique of congratulatory conversations. But before we do, I want to read from The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard. And the following is an actual case history illustrating how the law of assumption works. We are going to read this, and then we are going to do just as this costume designer did in our own imaginations. From The Power of Awareness. One day, a costume designer described to me her difficulties in working with a prominent theatrical producer. She was convinced that he unjustly criticized and rejected her best work, and that often he was deliberately rude and unfair to her. Upon hearing her story, I explained that if she found the other rude and unfair, it was a sure sign that she herself was wanting, and that it was not the producer, but herself that was in need of a new attitude. I told her that the power of this law of assumption and its practical application could be discovered only through experience, and that only by assuming that the situation was already what she wanted it to be could she prove that she could bring about the change desired. Her employer was merely bearing witness, telling her by his behavior what her concept of him was. I suggested that it was quite probable that she was carrying on conversations with him in her mind, which were filled with criticism and recriminations. There was no doubt but that she was mentally arguing with the producer, for others only echo that which we whisper to them in secret. I asked her if it was not true that she talked to him mentally, and if so, what those conversations were like. She confessed that every morning on her way to the theater, she told him just what she thought of him in a way she would never have dared address him in person. The intensity and force of her mental arguments with him automatically established his behavior towards her. She began to realize that all of us carry on mental conversations, but unfortunately, on most occasions, these conversations are argumentative. That we have only to observe the passerby on the street to prove this assertion. That so many people are mentally engrossed in conversation, and few appear to be happy about it. But the very intensity of their feeling must lead them quickly to the unpleasant incident they themselves have mentally created, and therefore must now encounter. When she realized what she had been doing, she agreed to change her attitude and to live this law faithfully by assuming that her job was highly satisfactory and that her relationship with the producer was a very happy one. To do this, she agreed that before going to sleep at night, on her way to work, and at other intervals during the day, she would imagine that he had congratulated her on her fine designs, and that she, in turn, had thanked him for his praise and kindness. To her great delight, she soon discovered for herself that her own attitude was the cause of all that befell her. The behavior of her employer miraculously reversed itself, his attitude, echoing as it had always done that which she had assumed, now reflected her changed concept of him. What she did was by the power of her imagination. Her persistent assumption influenced his behavior and determined his attitude toward her. With the passport of desire, on the wings of a controlled imagination, she traveled into the future of her own predetermined experience. Thus, we see it is not facts, but that which we create in our imagination, which shapes our lives. For most of the conflicts of the day are due to the want of a little imagination to cast the beam out of our own eye. It is the exact and literal-minded who live in a fictitious world. As the designer, by her controlled imagination, started the subtle change in her employer's mind, so can we, by the control of our own imagination and wisely directed feeling, solve our problems. So I want you to begin to think about a mental conversation that comes to mind. We're going to do what the costume designer did. and use our imagination to create a new mental loop, a new story, and allow our imagination to create the reality we want and to feel into that assumption. So when you are ready, get in a comfortable place and close your eyes with the intention that you are going to practice the law of assumption and the change in attitude towards this situation. Go ahead and breathe in and breathe out. And even just the thought of being able to change this with the power of your awareness is making you feel better and better in this moment right now. So continue to relax from your head to your shoulders, down your chest, taking another deep breath in and out as you are getting more and more comfortable and feeling more and more at peace in this place. You note any tension that you may have, and you begin to just let it go, relaxing more and more and more. And now I want you to begin to see this person. Note the details of what they look like. What are they wearing? What is their posture like? Are they standing or sitting? Focus on their expression on their face. And they're smiling, congratulating you. Their eyes are lighting up. Their arms are moving up and down as they talk. They may even reach out and touch your shoulder or give you a hug. Whatever feels right to you, really imagine their feeling of congratulations towards you. And in turn, you feel thankful. And you tell them, thank you, thank you, thank you. And you are feeling better and better in this moment. Now, having had this conversation and knowing you can take this imaginal act with you and repeat it, this new looping pattern, keep creating the positive feelings and keep creating the congratulatory words, and keep seeing the expression on this person's face that is so happy for you. You can take these feelings and thoughts with you, and when you are ready, you can come back to the now and open your eyes. Thank you for joining me, everyone, and I will see you in the next video.